You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning to CBT News. Despite the estimated $1 billion loss for dealerships due to the CDK Global outage, Sonic Automotive's second quarter net income is up 76% year over year. Joining us now to talk more about this is Jeff Dyke, the president of Sonic Automotive. And Jeff, what say you about this? I mean, we're reading about all of these publicly traded companies that use the CDK as kind of a, hey, we didn't hit our numbers and, this is the reason, but not Sonic Automotive. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, hey, first of all, appreciate, as always, being on the show. One of the things that, we've done at Sonic for so many years now is we manage our business by playbooks. We have a process around here for just about everything.
Wow.
And one of the things that we were prepared for is an event like this. And so that means you have to go back to handling contracts, writing them by hand, and keeping your business going. You just can't allow the cash to stop flowing. The units to stop moving and our customers to not be taken care of. So I think we did a really good job. Did it hurt the quarter? There's no question that, it impacted June and July, probably impact a little bit of August. But at the end of the day, it's behind us and we're moving forward. And I'll tell you, I think as an industry, Jim, across the board, the industry handled it really well. It's one of the things I love about our industry is just, throw COVID at us.
That's right.
Throw CDK at us,
That's right.
Blue screens, you name it. We overcome and adapt.
Yeah.
And we really overcame and adapted at Sonic Automotive, did a great job across the board. Even Echo Park had a great quarter. And that'll carry on into the third and fourth quarters of this year. So it was a challenge, but we overcame that challenge. And I think our CDK partners did a good job getting us, helping us get through the challenge. I don't think that anybody can really be prepared. CDK's got 15,000 dealerships, and this was a big event.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the biggest in the U.S. in terms of historical reference. And, we'll see, what happens going forward as they learn from the issues that popped up here.
Sure.
But I think they'll get better for it. The industry will get better for it. And I think this could have happened at Reynolds. I think it could have happened at Techion. It could have happened anywhere. So
I've asked this question of many of your counterparts at other publicly traded and private cap companies, large dealerships and small. On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate the response, the communication, the support of CDK during that time and up till now?
Yeah, I look from my perspective, given the amount, how big this was, I'd give them an 8 or 9 or 10 even.
Wow.
I think they did a good job. They communicated with us. Their leadership, their CEO was on the phone with us and keeping us abreast of what was going on.
Sure.
I think in a scenario like this, you got to work together as a team. I think we did that. Could some things have been done better? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we'll learn from that as we all grow together. And God forbid an event like this happens again. But should it, or should it happen to a Reynolds or a Techion? I think this is an event that the industry can learn from, and we can be better for it. It's shameful and sinful that it happened. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's behind us. We move forward, and I thank CDK for the hard work that they put in. I don't like the results. I mean, we were on track to have one of our best quarters we've ever had, and just really having an amazing quarter.
Yeah.
And then this hit us in the face, so that was no fun. But we get paid to execute during the difficult times too.
Sure.
And I think we did a really good job of that.
Yeah, boy, but that's for sure. Second quarter earnings. You reported net income of $41.2 million, up 76%, as I mentioned earlier, year over year. I mean, that's just an incredible job during such a troubled time in the industry with the CDK situation. So talk to us about the new car business out there as we start to see, inventory levels. Obviously, they're kind of stockpiling a little bit. And I know that's something that is near and dear to your heart. You've talked about this publicly. What is your message to the OEMs out there? You've got so many dealerships nationwide. You've got your hand on the pulse of what the industry is all about. What's your take on this situation?
Look, I think there's some OEMs, Toyota, Lexus, BMW, that are doing an amazing job managing the day supply. And listening and learning from what we went through in COVID.
Mhm.
And I've said always that we ought to manage our new car day supply like we manage our pre-owned day supply. A
Mhm.
nice tight day supply is good for everybody.
Right.
It keeps the industry very healthy. However, there are some manufacturers that are, it's just preposterous, the amount of inventory that they're producing and what they're doing to the business. I think the Stellantis brand, we've got a 180, 200-day supply of this product. And
Wow.
the incentives, I was going personally last night through incentives for whether it's Jeep or Dodge.
Yeah.
And they're just not there at the level that they need to be there in order to deal with the type of day supply that they have on the ground.
Right.
And it's not just them. There are other brands out there, Nissan. There are other brands out there that are just not doing a good job managing the inventory. And they're, the excuses are a mile long,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But shame on anyone in our industry that did not sit back and learn from the past, did not sit back and learn
Yep.
from what we went through at COVID. Look, we don't need a 3 or 4 or 5-day supply of vehicles on the ground. That's too low. But we don't need a 100-day supply of vehicles on the ground
No.
either.
No.
And we're very quickly getting back to pre-COVID days in terms of day supply. Now,
Yeah.
for us, it's it's a kind of a two-headed monster because yeah, I'm going to have big floor plan and a lot of new cars on the ground, but boy, that feeds the Echo Park engine.
Yeah.
And because new used car pre-owned prices are coming down,
Mhm.
and they're going to continue to drop. And as those pre-owned prices continue to drop, our pre-owned business just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's healthy, certainly healthy for the industry. But there's no reason why we have to have stair-step programs that are coming back from a volume perspective. There's no reason to have all of this inventory on the ground. It's insanity. And I think that several other manufacturers really need to triple check what their game plan is as we move forward,
Right.
because it's not healthy for the industry.
That's right. That's right. It is amazing how we went through, or everything that we went through in the last 4 years in the industry, that the OEMs didn't take note of that and say, wait a minute, this is a huge opportunity for us to, take a fresh look at our business. But it seems like those factories just keep rolling them out, regardless of whether or not there's, a butt for that seat, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
let's put it on the dealers. Let's let them worry about it. And meanwhile, we see floor plan going through the roof, in so many stores. I don't have to tell you, you're writing those checks, but it is just incredible to me as to how it's almost like somebody's at the factory and said, hey, how come you're not pulling that inventory lever to slow things up a little bit so it's more in accordance with the consumer's demand for that product, right?
Yeah, it's the definition of insanity,
Yeah.
right? Just keep doing the same thing over and over
Yeah.
and again, and expecting a different result.
Right.
We've seen this story before.
Yeah.
We've seen this movie before and read the story, so to speak. And that some of the manufacturers didn't learn the lesson,
Right.
and shame on them for it.
Yeah.
It absolutely infuriates me that we would sit here today and have a brand. Any brand have 180, 200-day supply of cars on the ground, and what the heck? That's just not how to operate a business. Shame on them. And hopefully they're learning from this because it costs them a lot of money to fix it. They're learning from this, and we'll move forward a stronger, better industry for it.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that I do think that there are brands out there, the Toyota Lexus team, just doing an amazing job managing their inventory.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder they're at the top of the heap when it comes to the NADA surveys,
That's right.
year in and year out.
Yep.
Just proud to be a Lexus and Toyota dealer here at Sonic Automotive, and they earn that. They know what
Yeah.
the heck they're doing, and
For
they
sure.
do a great job doing it. And BMW, same, has done an amazing job managing their inventory. I mean, I think we can all talk about electric vehicles and the oversupply of electric vehicles,
Yeah.
and the sort of the political environment around all of that.
Mhm.
But at the end, there are brands that are doing a job. They did learn the lesson, and they're sticking with the commitments that they
Mhm.
made to the dealers. There are others that have completely forgotten. And you see it. There's lots of turnover. There's leadership change
Yeah.
all over the place,
Yep.
and no stability. And that's just a definition for a bad result.
That's right. That's right. Since you went there on the EVs, let's talk about that. Where does Sonic stand today on EVs? Are those in large part the vehicles that are really stacking up on the lots? Or I mean, obviously it's a number of different models, but so many dealers are saying, hey, I've got enough EVs. If I never see another EV for the next year, it'll be fine.
Yeah, look, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's 10-15% of the volume, and there's, a higher day supply than what the consumer is demanding out on the
Yeah.
ground, which means that they're going to have to spend incentive dollars. You look at Mercedes-Benz, huge incentives on EVs in August, to blow out that inventory.
Right.
And again, this is the cart getting before the horse here. We're building too much electric vehicle inventory. It's putting the dealerships in a tough position. It's putting the manufacturers in a tough position where they're having to cut back now and spend huge incentive dollars to manage that inventory.
Yeah.
And I think, but I do think that the manufacturers are learning a lesson here, and all indications are that they are cutting back on EV, more ICE vehicles being produced.
Right.
So I do expect EV as a percentage of our overall inventory. It's dropping now. I expect it to continue to drop through the end of the year, and I think it will be in a lot better shape as we move into 25 in terms of electric vehicles being the right percentage of our inventory mix.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. And so let me switch gears a little bit and talk about your used car operation, Echo Park. Before we got recording today, you told me that, man, you're knocking the cover off the ball. A couple of years ago, you came out with kind of a restructuring, closed some stores. It looks as though the plan is working.
It's working fantastic. Yeah, this will be Echo Park's best EBITDA year ever.
Wow.
So that's fantastic. We're very excited about that. As a matter of fact, as a pre-owned aficionado, if you will, just love that part of the business.
Yeah.
Our competitors are doing well too.
Yeah.
CarMax, Carvana, Echo Park, which seems to be the big three kind of left standing after COVID. Many competitors, shut their doors.
Yeah.
And so very, very exciting times for us. Looking forward to the continuation of the pre-owned prices adjusting, getting back down at that auction level or street level that we can buy cars in that $20,000 range, $21,000 range. We're at 23 and a half right now. So
Okay.
a long way from the over 30,000 we were paying this time last year.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And that's going to continue to get better. Echo Park is in great shape. So, what's going to happen here is we'll see how things go. We know we're going to have a good third and fourth quarter. That if that momentum carries on into next year, then you'll hear me start talking and our team start talking about expanding our footprint and getting back to 90% coverage of Echo Park across the country. So
That's pretty cool.
we've got a long way to go, but we're very excited about the business and where it's at. And the health of the business. It's really, really good, and it's going to continue to get better.
Sure, sure. Well, it looks like the Wall Street agrees with your numbers and your philosophy. The stock is doing good as well. So congratulations on that. We are
Thank
in the
you.
middle of a very heated presidential election season. What kind of an impact would that have one way or the other, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat that sits in the Oval Office? Do you guys look at that and say, this could be good for our business, this could be bad for our business? Or
Historically speaking, Jim, the election has not had any impact on our industry. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to both sides, and what they do. And so, but historically speaking, it really hasn't had a big impact
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
business. And I guess we all have our favorites and what we like to see happen
Sure.
with the country. But I think we're blessed in our industry that it just hasn't had.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a big difference.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that Trump is now buddies with Elon Musk, because he was not huge on EVs, as you know. So it's kind of an interesting,
That's what money does.
that's what money does. That's exactly right.
Hey,
That's right. Politics
write
makes,
some checks and you can be buddies with anybody, right? That's the way it is, and
that's exactly
that's
right.
kind of the way it goes here.
Yeah, no question.
It is as you said, it's just the political environment is insane.
It is.
And
No question.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting time to be living in.
No question about it. Hey, before I let you get out of here, and I appreciate all the time you've given us, tell us about the technician hiring initiative at Sonic, because I know that obviously every dealer out there needs technicians, like thousands of them, that the industry needs. But what's Sonic doing to get more technicians on board?
Yeah, so the first thing we're doing is changing the culture inside of our stores, because what happens now, we've heard for years, it's so hard to go out and hire techs.
Yeah.
And we're approaching now 150 techs positive hired for the year. And
Wow.
we're on our way to hitting our 300 plus number.
Nice.
What happens is in the store, the culture, and this is inside and outside of Sonic Automotive, technicians don't want you to hire other technicians. that's an issue.
Right. Right.
And as I started digging into this, and I've been hearing the excuses of we can't hire techs, they're impossible to get for years.
Yeah.
But somehow we've been, losing 300 techs and hiring 350 techs and every year.
Yeah.
And so I decided, and our team decided to put a stop to that. And the first thing we did was change the culture in our stores. We got our stores to start thinking differently, that we need more technicians. We can't keep up with the business that we have.
Right.
And so by the end of this year, we'll have 300 techs hired. We announced it at sort of the end of the first quarter. We got really going in March. And we're, like I said, we're approaching the 150 mark, but we'll get to that 300 mark. And I mean, you think about it, it's $22,000 per stall per month.
Yeah.
So you want to hire those techs. That's a lot of gross, a lot of revenue coming into our business. And
Yeah.
we're so excited about this initiative. It's going to make a big difference for taking care of our customers, which is the primary, that's our North Star, right?
Right.
Is making sure that your consumer is as happy as they can possibly be.
Sure.
But then it's great. It's healthy for the business in our bottom line.
Right. And with the average age now 12.6 years on the road for the average vehicle out there, back end of the business, fixed ops is going to play even more of a role moving forward, right?
100% it will.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the business, better than 50% of our total gross. There's no end in sight.
Yeah.
There's just plenty of business out there, but you got to have the technicians, you got to have the stalls for them to work in. We've got the stalls. We need more techs, and they're on the way. We're hiring away.
Sure. If you had to pick one thing that, I don't want to say keeps you up at night, but that you really are focused on as you close out the year, what would it be? What's a concern of yours, either for the industry or for the company?
Yeah, I think right now the big question is going to be, how are the manufacturers going to react in managing inventory?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, some have done a great job, but some just an abysmal job. That's a very important piece of the puzzle between now and the end of the year.
Right.
And I really like to see them, take that to be their number one focus item as well. It's
Right.
not just about how many cars you can produce or how many different model lines you can produce. It's about making sure that you control what you produce so that you don't over produce and create a more difficult situation for everybody.
That's right.
That's one. And then, always our guest satisfaction scores, which rank among the highest in the industry, are things that I, am really in tune to and pay a lot of attention to, in our great teammates
Sure.
at Sonic Automotive, make sure they're happy and
Sure.
have everything they need to be successful. So
Sure. Sure.
I think we're doing a great job there, and the rest of this year should prove that out. We ought to have a great second half of the year.
That's fantastic. So let me just to recap: high stock price, high ESI scores, or ESI, high CSI scores, great profits. It's good to be Jeff Dyke. So thank you so much.
I don't know about that, but they all go together, right? And, that's the important thing.
Sure.
A lot of hard work and focus,
Sure.
and an amazing industry, just
Yeah.
the best industry in the world, and so much fun to be a part of all this. Just
I
very
agree.
blessed.
I agree. Jeff Dyke, President of Sonic Automotive. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here, Jim. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.